Hey everybody, Jay and Nick, we are back from New Jersey Motorsports Park. And when I say back, we're not really back. We don't go to all of these things ourselves.
Hell no.
20-something races, we would be shooting each other.
And the people that we get to fill in for us do a great job. I mean, we really are kind of unnecessary, but for one exception, which is the video. If I'm not there and if Phil's not there, we've had a real problem, especially in New Jersey, getting good quality video to turn into these recaps.
Yeah.
I'm as bad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Okay, but Eric Rude, guest judge, was also there, and he got a lot of great clips. I think he's going to be our guy, be our replacement.
I think we're totally covered.
A couple of hella sweet things at this race. There were these two Mercedes, very modern, very luxurious.
Basically brand new cars.
Very depreciated.
Yeah.
That was hella sweet.
Yeah. And on the subject of cars that people saved their whole lives to buy and are now worth $500, New Team brought a BMW 733. That wasn't enough. They also turned it into a complete bar, complete with taps and a margarita machine. Also hella sweet, Knights of the Roundel, their super unreliable E30, they fixed that by putting on an Eaton supercharger out of a junkyard.
Yeah, that's gonna work great.
And Judge Eric had a new penalty for this race. When your car went off track, you had to take it back to your paddock and scrape all of the dirt and grass and leaves off of the bottom and put it in a jar for display. That was hella sweet.
My personal favorite, though, was, all right, we've got this team, Sorry for Party. I'm sure you remember them. They got this Firebird, and it's all stripy with neon zebra stuff. They all wear little spandex bikini banana hammocks, and they all dance around. That's their theme. So Three Pedal Mafia did a We Are Not Sorry for Party theme that was just brilliant. Now, there was so much carnage at this race that there were actually 3 heroic fixes, and we're not going to trouble you with all the details except to say that the Glue Sticks Firebird ripped the entire rear half of their car off, also cracked the transmission in half, I think, in the process, oiled down the entire track, took like half an hour to clean all that up, get everybody back out on the course. They welded their entire F-body back together, they filled it back up with new transmission fluid, and they took the checkered flag, which was pretty great.
Okay, Judge's choice went to Cynical Racing, which is a 2-car entry, the first of which being a Hudson pacemaker that was built as a replica of what was supposedly Mario Andretti's first car.
As if that weren't cool enough, of course, they also have their Volkswagen Beetle that has now already had the Volkswagen motor replaced by a Pinto motor, which were great. And then that wasn't dangerous enough, so they went out and they found a V6 Honda Odyssey motor with 250 horsepower and bolted it into the back of their Beetle with predictable results. Now, it did not take long for the internet to just say, like, well, the weight distribution of that vehicle was clearly imbalanced, and there was not enough contact patch on the front end, and there was a typical unloading. But really, dude, it's a Beetle with a Honda Odyssey V6.
Yeah, and here's my thing about racing and racing CSI post-incident. I view racing as a room full of cats with a hole in the middle, and then you set off a bunch of firecrackers, and the cats run around like crazy. Every once in a while, one of them falls through that hole to their death. And as race organizers, we can do things. We can try to put little helmets on the cat. You can make
the hole a little smaller.
Yeah, you put it off in the corner where they're less likely to run into it. But it's always going to be there. There's always going to be a cat that shoom to the death. And then on the internet, well, you can clearly see from the slow motion replay that the black cat cut off the black and white cat's path, causing it to veer into the orange tabby, and the orange tabby then teetered on the edge and then went through, and that is very unsafe track layout and very unsafe car setup, and then that driver should have been better, and it's a room full of cats, people. For those of you looking for an update on the Ramble On Forward program, which is the Rambler being passed around the country from team to team, getting worse and worse as it goes, we don't know if the Rambler was even at this race.
No idea.
We weren't there. There was no video of it. That may or may not mean that it was there, but anyway, there's your update.
Yeah. I got screwed, went to the gadget inspectors and their cursed Nissan 240SX. Now, the last race that these guys entered, they blew up immediately. They put in a spare motor. It couldn't get out of limp mode. Then that motor blew up. They kind of finally fixed all that stuff. They came to this race with the spare motor out of limp mode. It was incredibly fast until it blew up 10 laps into the race. They found another spare motor, worked all weekend, got that thing into the car. It was incredibly fast until it blew up like 5 laps into the race. They were done. So sorry.
The special award for the New Jersey race was the Incredible Feats in GM Badge Engineering Award, which went to the Great Globs of Oil Buick Opel. Now, this is a car in the 70s that was
Incredibly
Opel.
bad. First of all, it was incredibly bad.
Yes.
Second of all,
It was an Opel.
No, it was not an Opel. I think it was an Isuzu.
It was built by Isuzu.
I think it was built by Isuzu, but it was badged as an Opel, but it was sold
then
by Buick.
imported
Yeah.
into this country.
It might have been built by Opel, but designed by Isuzu, but badged as a Buick.
It said Buick Opel on the
It
side
does
of
say
it.
Buick Opel on the side of it, but that means nothing. I think if you open the hood, somewhere under the hood it says Isuzu. Regardless, it sucks! And this car would have won IOE probably at any other race. It was incredibly slow. I think, you know what? I think it's the same platform as a Chevette, which is really saying something.
I thought it was one of those Isuzu Geminis that they had that was like the rest of the world, like in Australia.
Yeah.
It was an Isuzu that was sold as a Holden in Australia.
Dude, how do you even know this stuff? I don't know. It did not win IOE, and you will find out why later, but it was totally awesome.
Okay, organizer's choice marks the triumphant return
Yeah.
of Speeycop and the gang of outlaws to LeMons Racing. And this story really begins many years ago inside John Piggle's shop in Sacramento, California. Now, John had bought a Toyota egg-shaped 80s minivan, and he had installed a mid-engined Audi turbo 5-cylinder engine, and in John's mind, this was going to be the coolest, the fastest, the most reliable, most successful LeMons car of
The
all time.
Renault L'espace of LeMons Racing is what it was going to be.
Yeah. But like many of John's projects, it sat in the corner of his shop for years and nothing happened.
Yeah. In the meantime, Speeycop is going out and he's trying to think, well, what am I going to build to top the airplane, the camper, the upside-down Camaro? It's a hard thing to do, right?
Yeah.
He finds a helicopter, a Huey helicopter.
I think it was a Bell helicopter.
I think it's a Bell Huey, actually.
Holy smokes, it's the Buick Opel of helicopters.
So he takes this thing and he decides, I'm going to take John Pagels' platform, I'm going to take the Bell Huey Opel of helicopters, I'm going to mate them together. Greatest LeMons car ever!
But it wasn't enough to be a Toyota minivan-based Audi-powered Bell Huey helicopter.
Yeah.
He had to make it into an amphibious helicopter,
Yeah.
which actually floated and drove on the water.
Yeah. Did it do a lot of laps? No. But did it sink? Also no.
Yeah, and that's good enough for organizer's choice.
Easy. Man, Eric really did kind of get everything.
Yeah, and that brings us to the IOE, which went to 3 Pedal Mafia and their Citroën SM. Okay, but I think we can save this. There's got to be stock footage out there somewhere of a Citroën SM.
Give me the police.
Here's LeMons in a nutshell.